World Between Worlds. I'm just gonna say it. This is probably one of the more high concept things that they've ever introduced in Star Wars,
Mm-hmm.
aside from the Force itself, which has been explained almost ad nauseum.
Mm-hmm.
But the World Between Worlds is very awesome. All right, so they figure out that hey, they're doing something with the temple on Lothal. You need to go to
Mm-hmm.
Lothal. That's what
The
the wolves
Jedi.
told them. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So they go to the temple, and there's a whole little outpost set up there. It's not
Mm-hmm.
military, they say. It's almost sort of like it's almost like an excavation of
Mm-hmm.
sorts. They have this old creepy wizard looking dude that's
You
outside.
know who that is?
Yeah, that's the Emperor's right
That's
hand
the
man.
yes, that's the guy too that in not Force Awakens, in Rogue One, who was at Jedi at Vader's castle tending to Vader.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So he's like a Sith Force like mystic or something like that. He
yeah,
knows all about the Force. Don't know if he's Force sensitive, but he knows all about the Force, and he knows like from his readings and learnings the inner workings of the Force.
yeah. Almost like Base Malvo and them boys with Church of the Force
Yeah,
on Jeddah. So that was the
yeah.
parallel. Thank you. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't realize all that. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So he's there and he's saying, look, we gotta find a way to get into the temple because there's some secrets
Mm-hmm.
in here that we need. Basically they figure out with Sabine's help. They figure out how to get into it. There's some shenanigans going on. They trick some people,
There's
yada
a
yada.
there's a painting on the side of the temple
Yeah, and
of
it's our favorite gods of the Star Wars, the Mortis gods. We
uh-huh
have the father, the son, and the
this
daughter,
mm-hmm.
and the owl.
And the owl, and their hands are all in different like locations, but it's a circle around, around their hand. And Sabine kind of figures it out because what happens is they also what ends up happening in the previous episode, Ezra was able to get this like
Relic
relic,
artifact.
almost like a Ten Commandments type slab that had
It's true.
it was like a Ten Commandment slab that had like the hands and pointing in whatever direction they had to get in. And Sabine kind of figures this out, but it has to be someone who's a force wielder, especially a light side of the force wielder, because
Yeah,
this is the Jedi temple that they got semi destroyed on there, but they was able to excavate it. And so Sabine's like, "Hey, you can get in there. You need to figure this out, Ezra." So she runs distraction while Ezra basically turns the hands with the Force to make it to make it go where there are some wolves at the bottom of the pitch of the painting that's on the side of the one mountain. And once he turns the hands a certain way, those wolf paintings start to move and lead Ezra trying like around the backside of the temple, and they make a little like circle. And Ezra's looking at this, and he sees that this is basically like a doorway
yeah, it's
to
a
get in,
portal. Yeah,
a portal, and he goes into the portal.
yeah, and that leads
Mm-hmm.
us, and it reminded me of like the Matrix when you put his finger in, and
Right? Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so that's a good callback for me.
The
So
spoon, the spoon really isn't there.
like like all right, Oracle.
Yeah.
so so the next episode is
Uh-huh.
like I said, World Between Worlds, and you hear the voices of so many people as he's walking in this vast void of
Void.
looks like space and
Uh-huh.
time.
Mm-hmm.
And around there is just a bunch of portals.
Yes.
And
So on top of that, he's just hearing voices and he's like, what the hell? Who are it's just basically times and points throughout history, especially in the Star Wars history, going
yeah,
back to Phantom Menace up to, I guess you can say,
present day for
yeah,
them. Yeah.
present day for them, which is, what I'm saying, present day. So yeah. And he's
And
just like confused,
yeah,
like
he
what's
doesn't
going
understand
on?
what's going on. And as a viewer, you got to put the subtitles on to even catch
Yeah.
all the people talking. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like every important person to the light side has something to say or is
Yeah,
saying something at that
you
time.
heard Anakin. I think I heard Mace, if I'm not mistaken, in there. You heard Yoda, Obi-Wan. What's my man? Anakin, and saying Qui-Gon. Like you hear everybody, and he's just like trying to figure out what's going on. And then finally he looks up and he sees the owl that is usually represented by the spirit of the daughter from the Mortis gods or whatever. And I'm waiting for them in live action to actually explain it, because we've seen that owl whenever Ahsoka is around in live action. We saw it the first time in
too.
Mandalorian season 2, right? We saw it right there. A lot of people, you missed it if you didn't see it, but the owl was sitting right there because of the connection it has with Ahsoka. And so he's looking and he sees that it's like on a portal, and like the owl is kind of like nudging down, like, hey, you might want to check this out right here, bro. And so Ezra just walks up to the portal and he can see it. They don't see him, but he sees, let's go back to season 2. And he sees the battle. He sees Ahsoka pushes him away inside the Sith temple on Malachor, and the battle between her and Vader. You saw how that battle ended, and it's going, and Ahsoka was sticking at first, but this is Dark Lord Vader here, who was basically getting ready to finish off Ahsoka, and he was about to like kind of, I think, throw the death blow, but something happened with like the Sith temple was starting to collapse.
Yeah.
And he reaches in, grabs her, and pulls her out and drags her into the world between worlds. And Vader's looking like, yo, what the hell? Vader was looking like, what the hell? Let me get out of here. So he leaves. And so basically, Ahsoka comes to, and she's like, Ezra.
Yes. Question. So with this, do you think that this is like a closed loop situation, or did he alter time and space?
Okay, this is what I'm gonna say. So let me go to the end of the episode.
Okay, yeah, you're good.
I think this isn't him altering time and space. I think this is something that is a term we use in Star Wars. It was the will of the Force. It was something that had to happen, because what you saw at the end of this episode was Ahsoka, tells Ezra, like, hey, I have to go back. I'll find you. I have to go back. And she goes back through the portal. And what you see is the last shot of that episode, of the original episode, where Ahsoka is walking away with the owl, like she's limping. If you go back to the original episode where we didn't know what happened when the temple collapsed on itself, and you saw Vader struggling coming out of the temple, like, God dang, there was a fight or whatever. There was a shot of somebody kind of walking, struggling away, but it was fading to black. You could faintly see them. That's the same. That's how it is. So I think it was kind of,
because you see Ahsoka and you see the owl,
and it was the same. Yeah. And it was the same way how it ended. So yeah. So I think this was kind of like a closed loop, a will of the Force type thing. Like it was going to happen regardless. Not Ezra tampering. That's what I think with that.
If you want to see the rest of the video, check back on the page. Wednesday, Ahsoka, episodes 1 and 2.